Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 108, recorded live on the 27th of September 2017. My name's Pugh, and joining me to talk Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
And I'm live too, in an undisclosed location. So, and I can obviously notice that Lewis here is enjoying his everything that's going at the hotel room. It seems as I'm looking at this video.
It's gonna say I'm not sure how you could be telling I'm enjoying it from that angle. The TV is not where you're looking. For the audio listeners only, I am back at a hotel for work purposes. So apologies. I mean, I don't have my regular mic. I'm just using a wired headset today. And so the quality may be slightly less than usual. Again, also on the video side, not the internet I'm used to. It might be fine. It might be not as great. So apologies up front. But, and I should also mention, we also are missing another element of the show today.
Yeah, we did not like kick him out again or anything like that again. Anytime we disappear, it's like no falling out. I know, but no, Colin cannot make it because he's having changing internet providers. So
Yes.
he's going to get better internet hopefully. So
yes, hopefully we'll have more consistent and better internet in the future on the Colin side, which is a win-win. And let's jump straight into some what we've been playing. And so I've got a few updates to give. I don't have anything new. How about yourself, Harrison?
well, I am for all I think I mentioned to you on show or like pre-show last week. I'm currently digging a little bit deeper into my review copy of Mario Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Of course, the game does not come out till the 6th of October in the United States, and everybody knows this is a remake of the Game Boy Advance original that started the Mario and Luigi RPG series, and it's fair to say it's probably the best out of the series so far, and many would argue that it's kind of had a downward trajectory as far as quality for the series. So, but I am fairly in the beginning of this one right now, and in terms of like changes here, it's more of a bit of a streamlined experience in ways. Like, for instance, aside from the visual upgrades, which of course for that update right now, the pixel sprites in this one, as far as well defined, and just look so well animated, especially in the 3DS, and especially for the humor and the kind of the way like Mario and Luigi express themselves on the game. But things as far as changes, I'm enjoying so far, but I haven't gotten so much of the meat of it. I haven't gotten to the whole Bowser's and Minions segment of the game yet. I am enjoying things where, yes, little simple things you can save anywhere, as opposed to the little save books that are littered across the world. You have the option to fast forward through audio, which at times, if you want to just skip through something that you've already heard before. And also, this has a little thing that I think happened in the 3DS remake of Dragon Quest VII is, if you don't know where you are in the story, go to the pause menu, and it will show you like where you are in the story now. So that itself is a note to it. But did you yourself play the Game Boy Advance original, Lewis?
Yeah, I did play the original. I never did complete it, but I did play a decent chunk of that game. No idea how many hours I put in back in the day, but I remember playing it for a long while and enjoying it thoroughly. So yeah, the remake is something which, I think, to be honest, I'd be more interested in it if the Switch wasn't around and the 3DS was still my primary portable. But I am still intrigued because it has been such a long time since that original GBA game, the rebirth of the Mario RPGs. One of the things I was surprised that you mentioned is you say you've not actually unlocked the Minions mode yet. I assumed.
No, not yet. I mean, I started a little bit late on this one due to work, and also the fact that I'm trying to finish up Samus Returns right now, which I'll get to in a little bit. It's just I haven't gotten as far as into it right now, and I'm glad that they actually, Nintendo and Alpha Dream came back to actually make this out again, because I did fairly have a good time probably playing the Game Boy Advance original, but I never did finish it. I remember getting halfway through, and I just never picked it up again. And I remember somebody telling me, like, oh, you didn't like it because you didn't finish it? No, I didn't like it because, I was playing other things, and I was busy with other stuff at the time, whatever. It's one of those few games, like, I could probably count one hand that I tried out but never finished. I just never did, and I'm glad I'm able to do this the experience right now and actually do something that was well received on the Game Boy Advance. So
Yeah, the only reason I'm mentioning being surprised not having the minions is that because it's part of the title, I just assumed it was there ready, like you could play that without playing the main game, sort of thing.
I think it's a segment of the game where it's intercut with the story and when it's finally unlocked. Okay. So unless I'm just not looking. That's really it. So I mean, I again, listeners, I apologize. People and listeners, I apologize if this is an egregious oversight on my part. So
yeah, there's probably a little character right at the beginning. You need to talk to him to activate the entire thing. But if you just walk by him, it's just not there.
it's way back there to a point where I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about this one person, whatever. I'm like, oh, I gotta go all the way back here, or it's at one point like, oh no, you gotta start a new game. You can't. Once you came back this point, it can't unlock. You're like, oh come on, but whatever. But no, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, fairly simple right now, and I hope to actually talk more about it next week once I hopefully finish it and get it a full review out there for Pure Nintendo. Otherwise, I've been playing. I just want to give a quick update on Lick Spear Double Spear Edition. I did review that for them. I give it a 6 out of 10. Great concept, but really frustrating, and more frustrating, I could say, as far as the final boss, because, yeah, like I said, swear words upon swear words upon swear words. To me, I just did not really like the fact of, like, those specific points of a boss where you had to hit, where you had to have get exact precision. And, man, it's just like when you're changing whether your sensitivity of your throw, your arc, it got to the point where even afterwards, my palms were sweating on my Switch, and to a point afterwards I just had to go there and clean it off. I'm like, not the screen, just like on the back. I'm like, oh god, this is bad. I have to wear gloves doing this. So that's the end of the Lick Spear.
I assume there's no way to make it any easier. Is it just the one difficulty setting, or?
It's the one difficulty setting, but there are I never did try out co-op mode, but I heard that was actually and that's exclusive to the Switch version.
Oh, okay. I assume that's local co-op then.
Yes, you have like a little dog, like Viking thing or something like that helps you out and throws other spears. And then there's Rage Quit mode, which I'm not going to touch because your checkpoints in the game are each screen. You're at one screen, and once you defeat the amount of enemies that come on screen, you walk yourself whatever onto the next screen or the next segment. And if you die in that next segment, it just sets you off in that one screen, not the beginning. Rage Quit mode, you die in anything, you start the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, I see why they named it as such.
Yeah, not doing that. But you can do a new game plus with all your abilities. But I got through with not doing as much. But that's my take on Lick Spear right now. Something like it grabbed my attention, but boy was it frustrating at times. So
yeah, okay.
But I do want to get an update on Samus Returns. I have officially one Metroid to go, and yeah. But I have to say though. For the amount of game on here, you will see some surprises in here, whether it's areas or different bosses and such. But there was one particular near the end that you do encounter. I think Nintendo America kind of spoiled it in some areas where it's a little bit, but it's probably one of my favorite moments in the game because I was trying to realize, like, how do I beat this segment of the boss? And usually in typical Metroid fashion, I had like that aha moment. I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought I could do that. And at a point, I'm like, it was one of those thoughts. I'm like, it's not going to damage it that much. It can't, whatever. And of course, I tried out. I'm like, oh, I just keep doing this. It does it. I mean, I don't want to give it away too much spoiling, but after you defeat this boss, there's this neat, like, of course, you have these tiny little cinematics in game. There's a little thing that Samus does, whatever, right before, because you get an item at the end of this boss battle, and then there's this small little moment in there that it just. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Yep, that's." I want that to be a GIF. I really want that to be a GIF. So once you get to it, and if you miss it, I'll explain. So, but I really hope to. I'm interested to see what the end shows to me right now. Of course, I think I kind of almost got spoiled by a boss, whatever, by a YouTube thumbnail and that was just my own. That's my own fault. It's my own fault. So.
For looking at thumbnails.
Well, not looking it up. I would scroll on YouTube and like Game Explain or some other site that I don't subscribe to, or any channel that I don't subscribe to, just shows up because of a YouTube algorithm. and it says, "Oh, the history of the final 2D Metroid boss battles," and I just see a little corner right there, and I'm like, "You couldn't have hid that." So, yeah, I kind of got spoiled on something, but that's me on Metroid. That's on me on Samus Returns right now for a little bit. So I'm just saying, go pick it up. People who really wanted 2D Metroids out there, please pick this up.
I hear you loud and clear. I will have it on my 3DS soon.
What about you, Lewis? What have you been playing?
What about me? I've been playing a little bit of a lot. So I think the most recent update to give is on Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I've not beat it yet, but I have made some progress. So last time I was on the last of the 4 worlds, and so because there's only 4 of them, they are quite big. And now I'm beyond the halfway point of this last world. Well, I assume it's the last one. I've defeated the mid boss there, which I'm not sure if this is the first time this game's done it, or it's the first time I've noticed. But I did initially fail on this mid boss, and then I found myself at the start of the battle before it. So that's peculiar. And again, I'm not sure. It's just I'm trying to think if I'm pretty sure I've failed at a mid boss before, but maybe I've not. Maybe they've all followed that pattern, but I did find it quite bizarre that I had to go through the stage before it essentially to fight him again. The good news was, despite him looking particularly scary and having a very large health bar, way beyond anything you'd seen before, I managed to beat him the second time rounds, like in a complete overturn, as it were. Like before, the first time round I got quite destroyed. The second time, he barely managed to touch me. And I think that's a testament to the game. Like, from being defeated, I had worked out his strategy, as it were, and I was able to use that to my complete advantage the next time around. I'd say it wasn't so bad after all. I managed to pull it off in 3 turns in the end.
So there is a challenge. Like the challenge for here is quite deep, especially.
Yes. And it's strategic is the main thing, because if you were just to try and brute force that thing, it would just be impossible, because you're completely outgunned and he's got so much health. You have to apply a particular strategy, which is not obvious on the get-go. But I guess if you were playing it a little bit more cautiously, you would have picked it up a lot cautiously. And so I've done a couple after that point, so I must be quite near the end now. And the story's kind of it feels like it's getting there as well. We'll see if there's any crazy twists at the end. You never know, especially with the bizarre start this game has. I do hope it kind of goes back to where things began, with the whole real world mix up and then the Rabbids invading it and then them going into the Mario Kingdom, opposed to things just resolving in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is my suspicion is what's going to happen. But we shall see. But either way, I'm having some fun with Mario plus Rabbids. If you got a Switch and you like strategy games, that's pretty much the recommendation there. If you don't like strategy games, even then you need to do some homework first, do some research on it, because it still might be good for you, but it's not a definite recommendation. What else have I been playing? I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon 2 still. Not a huge update to give here, but I've been going up the ranks, which has been fun.
I haven't done that yet, and I had just finally about a couple weeks ago got to a point where I actually can't get into ranked mode. That and I'm like, I feel like we had to have another Splatfest now soon.
Yeah, I do feel it's about time. I'm going to quickly load up. I'm not sure how quick this is. I just want to see what my stats are. So I've been playing a lot of ranked modes. I like all the 3 main ranked modes in Splatoon 2. I just want to check out what rankings I'm at. But I feel I've been doing quite well. I've definitely been putting my time in. And yeah, it's a game which I've probably played it more than I did the first one, which I think is quite the testament to just how solid and what a good game loop they've got going on here. it's just like a nice, fun, comfy game to play. Even if you've only got like say 20 minutes or so, you can still get a fair few matches in for Splatoon 2. That's pretty cool. I'll come back with the rank data though, because we got you got to go the intro to go through. I forgot about.
The intro. Yeah, just hit that A button as quickly as possible. I know that Pearl and Marina are just a hoot to actually listen to. So
yeah, and what else we got? Beyond that, a few little things. As I said, it's been a bit itty bitty. I've played, and the main point is I've managed to progress a little further on Thumper, which I hadn't done in some time. I've gone back to it a few times, but I was stuck on a particular boss on a particular world. But I finally got through it. And so if you are at the same at home, if you're stuck on Thumper, do keep trying. You'll finally break through. It's such a bizarre, visceral game, Thumper. It's something you need to play with obviously the sound up quite loud and just somehow get in the zone. But yeah, it's so rewarding when you finally crack through a boss as such, because you have to basically do perfect runs. It's kind of how the game works. Like you can take one hit, and then when you take the second, it's like game over. And so I guess you've got like a margin of error, but beyond that, you've got to do this whole stretch without being hit. And when you do, it is quite the feeling. And the other game I've been playing a little bit of is ARMS. So I'm not sure when I last gave my ARMS update. Have I spoken about Load of Pop yet?
Not yet. Please do discuss on our new female, pantaloon wearing clown.
Well, she is quite the character.
That's the thing I like about these characters right there. It just it's not, when you introduce a new female character, it's like don't get it too overly sexualized to a point where it's insulting or like it's just kind of a garbage kind of a design or anything like that. But thankfully in the ARMS, that's the thing where I look at like each characters have this nice little like feel to them as far as design, and this one it makes me interested to see what else comes afterwards after Lollipop. I haven't tried it out yet, but how is the character feel?
So yeah, what I do like about the characters in ARMS, not just that they have this unique style to them, but they seem to get backed up, reinforced by the actual unique gameplay mechanic or the twist of that character. And so for Lola Pop, she's got a few special things about her. One is her defensive move. And the first thing you'll notice is she blows up like a big balloon, unlike the other characters who just put their arms up. There is an advantage of this. See, I'm not entirely sure if it helps her block more, but what it can help her with is from that ball state, she can go from it and do a higher jump or a further dash. And so that in itself is useful, because you can go from a block to like a super dash to block dash block jump. And obviously when you're moving, you've got a better movement, and then when you're back to stationary, you're in your blocked form, which is pretty cool. And another unique, she has a unique set of arms, which is, I can't remember the name. They do have some very special.
They're nunchucks, aren't they?
The Fun Chucks. That's it.
That's Chucks. Fun Chucks. No, seriously, if you say that like 3 times fast, that does sound like a bad word, like a really expletive.
Well, one of our other arms is called the Clapback. What do you think about that one?
Clapback. It sounds dirty on its own.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. But you don't need to say it multiple times. The Fun Chucks, they work pretty well. So you can use them vertically and horizontally, and they have a nice curve to them as well. I think that it's fairly similar to, I think some of Ribbon Girls. I can't remember which arms they are, but the ones I did use before, and they do a nice curve. But the Fun Chucks have this good balance between they curve well, they hit well, and they're fairly quick as well. And so I think she's quite a nice character, really. She's got a nice balance between mobility and defense and speed. And so I've done a couple of the Grand Prix with her and co-op, and played a fair bit of online. and done relatively well. I think I'm not sure she's like a beginner's player necessarily. She's not an expert's player by any means, but maybe after you've got familiar with whoever you got familiar with first in ARMS, I think she's a good next character to try.
I got a sense of, yeah, this would probably be another favorite character, but it's like between the reception when you saw from Twin Tail and now you have with Lola Pop, you could see people actually getting more onto the train for this one. I just like that, again, design-wise, it's cute, but also very charming in ways. I mean, I like how basically she inflates as her defense. That's very hilarious the way to do that. But also, yes, the fun chucks, as they are called.
Yeah, I can't remember what their third set of arms are, but yeah, she's got the fun chucks, the clapbacks, and I'm sure that the other one is as entertainingly named as well. That's pretty much it for what I've been doing on the gaming front.
But
I mean, we've got some exciting games coming up, and some which we've just not got round to yet as well.
Yeah, one particular SteamWorld Dig 2. We're sorry, we haven't picked it up yet.
Soon. That's the problem, really. I mean, I guess I could jump into that before I jump into Metroid. They're both similar experiences.
I was watching a podcast recently, and they had talking about, obviously they had just gotten done talking about like Samus Returns with a review, and then they mentioned about whole expose talking about SteamWorld Dig 2, and they had mentioned like I actually think like more SteamWorld Dig 2 more than Samus Returns, and I'm like, oh wow, it's that good then. So
that is quite the high praise, really, isn't it? Something in the in quotes Metroidvania genre. All right. So before we jump into our news, a few bits I usually mention at the beginning of the show, but I think I threw myself off when I said live in the intro, which has been written there for some time, but I've never spoken it out loud. So it did sound a bit different, didn't it? But we do have our Patreon campaign, and we do, in addition to that, have an ongoing competition running. And it's important to mention it now because the competition's all around the Super Nintendo Classic Mini, which comes out the end of this week, I believe. And so, exactly, at least it does over here in Europe, where I've ordered it from. I think that's worldwide too.
Are you going to attempt to find another one since we are, of course, giving one away for our Patreon?
Exactly, I will. I'm not necessarily going to be like on a mad rush like I was when I managed to secure the original pre-order, but I'm going to take Nintendo at their word that they're going to be readily stocked and so on. And so I will, some point in the near future, when one comes available, I shall pick one up for myself. But what this is about, listeners, viewers, you can win the Super Nintendo Mini I have pre-ordered. It should be with me end of this week or next week. All you need to do is support us on Patreon. And then when it arrives, I shall, on the next show afterwards, I will pick a random Patreon supporter from the list, and you win the Super Nintendo Mini. I'll post out to you. It's simple as that. No, yeah, that's how it works. And
basically it. You will get your own, hopefully not hard to find SNES Mini.
Exactly.
For as low as donating $1 to us. That's really it. So, and we hope to do more for this later on down the road for other things. So, and I mean, it's a matter of like, I think when we said we want to flow the Patreon message, whatever is hard, what we want to do here, like without getting too much bang on the head, like sign up, sign up, sign up. We don't want to sound too much like an ad. But for here though, it's a great incentive though, whatever, and we want to give back to everybody for something like this. The opportunity.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, cheers, Harrison. And yeah, just in addition to the competition, obviously, the Patreon itself has been set up to help support the show, help us get some better tech gear going, and the other various bits. If you do want to check it out, where you need to go is patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And so with that all said and done, let's jump on to some Nintendo news. And the first thing we have, top of the agenda, Fire Emblem Warriors DLC has been announced. It's been priced. I don't think it's quite been dated. Well, we've got some vague dates. And so,
yeah.
For America, it's going to cost $19.99, and in Europe, it's going to be the same $19.99, unless in your Britain, and it's £17.99. And so that's for the full season pass, I should say, and you'll be able to buy individual packs as well, for $8.99 for America and Europe, and £8.09 for the UK. And the first batch of DLC will be coming in December, followed by February and then March. And the DLC will still be focused on the three main games that the game itself is. I know a lot of people are hoping they would use this as a chance to branch out and do other games in its entirety, and that stuff not completely written off, but there will still be a main theme of those three games.
There has been a lot of complaints from. There's been few that have been wondering. Hopefully, there's more branched out in the Fire Emblem universe for this. But I mean, it does seem to be the case, though. We have Lynn, probably from the first one that came out here in the Americas. Well, for here in the Americas, for us outside of Japan, and I don't know. I'm sure we're going to be getting more for this out there, because the ones they're having to think it's Fate, Shadow Dragon, and I think Awakening. So. Or no, actually, in his quotes, heavily inspired by Shadow Dragon, one of the packs. So,
And so, I don't think we necessarily need to rule out the characters beyond those games joining in, because as you said, although the focus on the main game is that already, we still have characters outside of it. But yeah, I think this has shocked some people in the sense they were generally hoping that, this DLC pack will be entirely on the original Fire Emblem. Or the original, which we'd never had, for example, or just the Smash Bros representatives.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we'll see a sprinkling throughout, and you never know. Beyond this, I mean, if this follows a similar track to Hyrule Warriors, there may be further DLC packs beyond that, or they may just be envisioning longer term. They may have, for example, a sequel in mind already, which will focus on a different three games. You never know. Personally, I'm honestly not too fussed. I can completely understand if you have a huge a love for the series, and it's you're looking at this, and it's just a shame that it's only representative by a very small portion of that. But in terms of the sort of game it is, assuming that it does something with that in the story. Like there's a reason for these three universes in particular to find themselves together, kind of like in Hyrule Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that's fair game, because doing that's one thing. Doing that for just the entire series, spanning double digits worth of games.
There's plenty to offer out of this.
Because then you would I'd imagine you'd be splitting yourself between just like one or two characters per game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that doesn't mesh so well in a story perspective, that you've only got you've got so many characters that don't know each other, opposed to these three separate parties or armies who don't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm actually generally looking forward to this. It's not actually long now till it comes out. So this is good news. I will wait to hear more before I commit to the season pass, as it were. They could get me on it. It really depends. And they did actually also reveal the bonus for buying the season pass, which isn't enough for myself to plunge in. And this is the wedding dress version of Lucina, I believe. I think it's Lucina.
Hang on. Yep, I've seen that before. Okay, yeah, I've heard that one. Okay. Wow, okay.
But yeah, beyond that, we don't really know what the actual details are yet. So we'll wait and see.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do know the big piece of news we did talk about, hoping it would get fixed, but this is actually happening soon.
Okay. So should we jump into our next bit of news?
Yeah, I would say that's what I was alluding to.
Okay, so next up, Sonic Mania is receiving a patch soon. It's not out yet. and it's mainly around bug fixes, I believe. This one.
Hmm.
I think the main thing they call out is the home button bug fault, which is I think how they call it as well. And so when you would use the home button in Sonic Mania, there would be a delay before anything happens, and you can make it do weird things if you kept pressing it, knowing that it was having trouble with it. And so this came from a tweet from obviously Sonic the Hedgehog himself.
Which is probably one of the more like a pretty good Twitter account if you want some.
It is a good Twitter account to follow, yes.
Mhm.
A new Sonic Mania patch is rolling out, adding the supersonic button, and adding fixes for the Switch home button and other bugs. Yeah, I don't have supersonic yet.
Wait, you do not have it yet? Is there an option?
I don't have supersonic yet. I assume you can get supersonic by collecting all the emeralds. I don't know what a supersonic button does. We'll find out, I guess. If you know what a supersonic button is, let us know.
Yeah. But I mean, but I guess overall, this news that just they're fixing what was known as like kind of a bit of a slightly annoying issue with Sonic Mania. So that's something that's good to be actually seen corrected pretty quickly on there. So that's good.
Oh, definitely, yeah, because it's one of those things where although it's like a weird little bug, really, because it doesn't really like interrupt the game itself. It's just this weird delay when you go back to the home menu. So I could see it be one of those things that. But no, it is good to see that they've gone in and fixed that, and they seem to be adding extra things as well, which is all good. And the next piece of news we have is around a Nindy release, a Golf Story.
Yes.
Has a release date now, which is very soon, September 20th.
Indeed it is. Wait, what is it? It's the 28th, you said? Oh, wow, we got that pretty soon.
It's pretty soon. Basically, from time of recording, it's tomorrow. At least over here where we just come past midnight. So yeah, Golf Story is like I'm very much looking forward to.
Oh yeah, this one definitely is going to have like a lot of those things that I've loved from like Mario Golf and the Game Boy Color, but this one does have something a little bit more depth from just the golf. So I'm interested. This one is I've had my eyes on for a little bit right now, and I hope it's received well.
Yeah, and I think I know I say this a lot, but I think this is also just a very good fit for the Switch. Like one, it just because it's playing homage to the Mario Golf games on the portables, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance. I think it'll feel right at home to play it, on the actual screen itself of the Switch. I don't know. I assume it's like a completely single player experience because it's a golf RPG as such. But it would be fun just to see those chunky sprites on the TV as well.
But yeah, this is one I'm really looking forward to.
Okay. Well, we have another new release. This one is a book based on a video game, but it is based on a video game, and that's why we're talking about it.
Nothing wrong with books. We love books. I love coffee table books. And this one
Stay around until our late night segment of Book Hour. The book we're talking about tonight, though, is, and I assume, I'm not sure it'll be the last, but the third of the recent Zelda books, which first started with Hyrule Historia, which was followed by Art and Artifacts, and the third is being announced, Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia. And
yes,
it's going to be a 320-page volume filled with explanations and descriptions of everything from items and potions to relationships between characters, filled with maps, illustrations, and screen caps. It seems to be it's going to go for the same sort of price. It's roughly the same sort of size. So it's another one of those.
I really love these, but I'm glad this is getting translated. And of course, this will be out for a while. This will be, I believe, releasing this North America and I think hopefully Europe. I think is Europe as well in April 2018. So we have a while for that.
Yeah.
But this was already been out in Japan, I believe, for a while. And I think it came out around the time of Breath of the Wild. But also, it made a lot of news because supposedly there's some things in there that retcons things that were mentioned in Hyrule Historia or that we've long known in the Legend of Zelda series. Like, for instance, and this is what I've been, like, when I researched on it, I had a tweet that was referencing somebody who had worked on it, but apparently everything out of, like, Majora's Mask, it was all a dream. Everything, once you leave Termina, it ceased to be. So those characters did not exist. Basically, it's the Mario 2 kind of, like, the Mario 2 sort of way, like, those characters don't exist in that world. It's a dream. So there's that.
That doesn't surprise me too much.
It shouldn't, but I mean, this was a translation from a different magazine, so this things could be mixed up right now. But that wouldn't surprise me. Another one was about, if I'm looking here correctly, Link's Awakening has been moved back directly in time as far as its placement in the timeline. So it takes place. It has been moved back to take place directly after A Link to the Past. And
does it really matter too much for Link's Awakening?
I don't know.
Whenever he goes on a journey on a boat, the rest of it is more literally what you described of Majora's Mask.
And I know Colin's reasoning, saying, like, I doesn't believe there's a timeline. I mean, okay, there's an official timeline that's in my book right there. It is there. That is the official there. I mean, so, and I know it's a little confusing to some on there. I mean, the thing that really did shock me going on there was, like, there's a third branch in this timeline where it's like, hey, if Link dies, and that's where, yes, some of the best games took place in there. So, but no, I'm really glad that Nintendo and Dark Horse are doing this kind of collaboration again, and I kind of hope they do something more, especially in series. I mean, who knows? I could easily like something that's like Fire Emblem or a Metroid one, or more realistically, they could do like a Mario one. There's tons of art to go through that whole thing, and basically an encyclopedia of items to do. Lore, not so much. I mean, yeah. Then again, I have heard and read online of people trying to fit the Mario series into a timeline, and it's done to hilarious results. Like, look it up. It's like there was a guy that actually did do that. He included all the sports games.
As you should, and I should be put with the Mario parties in their correct order and not their release order as well.
Yes, because we all know the Mario Party games actually take place in the Mario 2 timeline. That's where because why would Bowser and all these other characters hang out? But then you have to include, oh wait, what happens to the Donkey Kong series? They're mixed up into that too. So,
but not giving anyone ideas, but I think there could be a good super topic around either the Mario Party story order or just Mario in general.
Oh no! If we just a whole show of us just discussing about, okay, where does the Mario series fit? And no, this is like, that would be the title of the episode. This is why Mario Party 5 is the most important piece in the Mario timeline. So, yes. But getting sidetracked. You gonna be picking these up when it gets out?
I definitely will. I've got the first two.
Yeah, first two they're great, and those definitely look good on a bookshelf, especially the color outlet. But yeah. So the same color, the color of the goddesses, basically, the three goddesses of. So that's one.
Yeah, and then what I want to mention, you're going through ideas of series that Dark Horse or someone else could go with Nintendo. One you didn't mention was Splatoon, which does exist.
I feel like we would have to get more.
Splatoon
they could do one. Good. I would say they could do one on there. I was thinking like volumes out there. Like there's for like a Mario one. You could just span that out, and also it's not only that, you could easily go through things and like for instance, when you had the Mario Maker game, like the special, well, each game came with a little art book of how when Shigeru Miyamoto like designed the like World 1-1. I'm sure you could have so much material out there just to spread out, just to know like what they did to design these things, and there's just a slew of information to go to it. I mean, I wouldn't mind just an encyclopedia where I'd like learn about the different types of Koopas and Goombas. I mean, I'm sure that'd be fun to translate.
Oh, definitely. I should kind of mention, if I didn't before, the Splatoon one is just an art book in that sense.
Okay.
And so it is just pages of pictures. And it's really cool that like Splatoon with, I'm pretty sure when it originally came out in Japan, the book, that it was only the first game which is out there. And I'm pretty sure the book only covers the first game. It might have a little bit about the second game, but it's like its own little section. But yeah, there's so much unique art which was made for that universe. It's really cool just to flip through it. And there's just certain things like where like in the game world you would see like posters and such, which would be really small resolution. You would just have these like full A4, really high quality versions of what that artwork is. But yeah, obviously, as you would expect from an art book. Well, to be fair, some are better than others. It is absolutely like jam packed. If you're interested in Splatoon and art books,
yeah, I never. Well, I do want to correct. I did mention about Fire Emblem. I think Dark Horse did put out one called The Art of Fire Emblem Awakening, unless I'm not sure if it was Dark Horse, but there was that. So, but again, it just shows you could. It's a possibility. There's plenty to do something like that. But again, these are things I really love. I really do like to have these come out and just to have my desk and read through them. So they're pretty good.
And the last news story we have for you is some news tidbits which came out of an interview with Reggie, which he had with Mashable. And so we've got a few highlights here. And so we're constantly looking to disrupt the industry. We're constantly asking ourselves, what can we do that's differentiated that the consumer wants but doesn't know they want. I struggled with that one. And the second, one thing that I love about our company is we always put innovation first. We are always looking to take the risk. In
a ways that's kind of Nintendo's MO, it seems like, when it comes to bits. Like you could also say that's been up there since the Wii. They're looking to change things out in the industry to kind of, set trends, not follow them. I mean, me going off a famous quote that Shigeru Miyamoto would say. But here, though, I mean, it's not surprising, whatever. I mean, what they've got with the Switch here, and I'm reading more through the interview here, what we had. And they talk about how things like some of their new ideas when they're in their research development, some do work, and some don't work. For instance, like he brought the Virtual Boy, like as an example, and this is like back when VR was a thing, and if I'm reading, basically, here's what he had said. Without that, we wouldn't have learned about that particular space, about what we can do with VR and then AR, he said. And who knows? Augmented reality may not be able to incorporate a Nintendo 3DS if we hadn't failed that experiment 20 years prior. So it's just, I think it's showing like that kind of led to that being the 3DS because it showed them like that one little bit failed, even though it was a spectacular failure. So, but the quote I do want to go back to is disrupting
the Virtual Boy. We've never had face raiders.
Oh yeah, there's that, or that little nice Easter egg in Tomodachi Life. So there was that. But I really, really like how what can we say about them just saying disrupting the industry in a ways? I mean, you could say the Switch is definitely lighting a fire underneath everybody and taking everybody by surprise.
Yeah, no, I think the Switch is a perfect example, and I mean that's where it's come from in terms of disrupting the industry, because it's one thing to have a successful product in a well-known market, but to introduce something which is not only popular but does something very differently, that's disruptive. And it's obviously a much higher risk doing something like that, but you do have more to gain as well. And so it's also just been Nintendo's history, like from there, I guess you can only be disruptive if you're successful. But so the Wii was very disruptive and successful, and so was the DS, and many of previous Nintendo's offerings as well. But yeah, it's a really cool article, and it at least it starts off like comparing Nintendo and the Switch to Punk.
Oh yeah, that was related to the Suda 51 quote.
Yeah,
how he had called, if I'm reading it up here, Nintendo and the Switch are really punk. That's from Suda 51.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little way to describe things like that. So but I don't know. You're going to get things like this for out of Nintendo, whatever. And really, I mean, things don't really surprise me. Something like this. I mean, any company like that wants to disrupt it, but you have something like an idea like this that is going to just take people by storm. I mean, obviously that was not the case with Wii U. Here, we're getting something different, but obviously it's a matter of what we're going to see probably later on in the holiday season, how things goes pretty well after that, and if if this thing keeps going afterwards. Again, it all comes down to software.
Exactly, and it's also just the thing of taking big risks and taking lots of them. No matter how good you are, eventually there's going to be some duds in there.
Oh yeah,
because if you don't, somehow you're just I don't know how you would do it, but you're following a succession of risk-like maneuvers which are very predictably successful. And I'm not sure they're even risks at that point. I'm not sure how you measure that, but that's a very different non-Nintendo topic. That does do it for our Nintendo news, though. There we go. There's a segue. Finally got one in the bag. We don't have the super topic this week. Today, we do have 2 topics still up for grabs. They're up for vote. And if you go to the Patreon page, you can choose between these 2 current topics, and we'll do them when the full team's back together next week. As a recap, we have Jonathan Cruz, who's suggesting a Nintendo handheld discussion, and specifically about revisions around for example, the Game Boy Light, which I've never touched, the Micro, the SP, etc. What are our personal favorites? And the second topic to choose from is Sega on Nintendo. And this comes from Daniel Gaskin. And the idea around this discussion is what's the best Sega game on a Nintendo console? Both very cool answers. Both would have some very cool discussion. So do jump over to patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. Give whatever you prefer a vote. And while you're there, feel free to add in your own super topic suggestion for next time round. We do need some more. There's that Mario timeline one up for grabs. But if you have anything else you want to think of, do chuck it in, and we'll get round to it very soon. And so that does take us to the end of the show. And so we do the usual thing before we go. We'll go around to just the 2 of us today. And we'll give out our contact details or anything else we've been up to. And so, Harrison, how can people get hold of you?
You can get me. You can catch me on Twitter at @hmilfeld, and if you want to add me on Switch, you can find my friend Conan pinned to the top of the profile, as always.
That's a good place for it to be. And anything else you've been up to you want to talk about, or?
Not this moment. Again, check out all of us and our friends over at Pure Nintendo. We're doing great stuff on there. Practically putting on seems like a review almost every day, and it's just going to get better right now and a little bit crazier with the fall season right now. And hopefully you'll be able to see check out my Shakespeare review, and then check out everybody else's reviews right there. We got a lot of hardworking people up there and great people who just love Nintendo as much as we do.
Oh, excellent. For myself, you can get hold of me on Twitter. The word you need is Luvsion, and the way you spell that is Leuvsion. And I've got nothing particular to plug about today, and so that does officially take us to the end of the show. And
officially.
Well, not quite, but it will once I've said this.
Well, you're official. Well, I mean, you're in the hotel room, official, whatever. So.
Okay, and so this. Oh, you made me ruin it.
I ruined it. What did I ruin? Come on.
No, I did. I was just trying to find someone to blame. Anyway, this does end the episode of a show. This has been Nintendo Voice, and thanks for listening.
Catch you all later. Bye-bye.